right, the dark side. Now I'm going over this for the Arkham Reporter. I mean, you can say like I'm sick of horror stuff, but you know that's not true. I cover horror all year round. Really busy last 2 weeks. Lots of things going on. My boomers are all malfunctioning, which is about the time. So it's all happening at once. So I've been kind of busy with things, but I said to Arkham, yeah, I would do a video on this because the dark side. Usually the covers are for older like horror characters, but for some reason Art the Clown was in this because there's an article here in Art the Clown. Arkham read through this and he was like, "Oh, you have to do a video on this." And I go, "Hmm." Okay. So now in general, I see in more than one article the term problematic comes out. I'm like, what the hell am I reading? Rue Morgue? What is this? Okay, in horror, okay, problematic and horror don't mix. Okay, there's some taboos that you shouldn't cross. Okay, well, if they are crossed in the film, it's gonna be not our side of the fence. Now, what side am I on? I don't consider myself a conservative. Okay, but I'm definitely no corporate, corporate progressive who tries to use village voice identity politics in order to actually take away actual look at the at who's running the economy. Right? But you guys don't hear the suffering now. The Terrifier series. Okay? Literally from left field is Damian Leone with very little money, but with a lot of professionalism. Came out with this massive hit. You've been creating a horror. You could say in the jaded time where there's not really horror characters in the vein of the '80s. Rogues Gallery. To do that and with horrifically gory films. I mean, like I said, Terrifier 3. I remember seeing that with my friend from Philly. Man, I mean, we saw horror movies all our lives, and he was wincing at the scene with the scene with the plastic tube and the rats. I don't have to say anymore. But this article here is basically reflecting that there's a lot of people who don't like these films. They think they're misogynistic. Now, if you look at the body count, a lot of men get killed in this. Okay, but the women, they seem to get the grand like they get the more like horrific kills that last longer, and so this is misogyny. Okay, now at the same time though, this article is trying to say that there's a loud audience across a great majority of which were women. Now I don't know, Mickey. Right? I'm Mickey. I don't know. Is that true? I have a feeling. I don't know. I don't know. It could be even. I don't think it's majority women liking this, but it seems like an article trying to square the circle of turning away the idea that there's a misogyny in this. Of course, Damien Leone has said, I love women. Da da da. Of course. Okay. But it's a horror film. Okay? If you're gonna show things in it that are horrific, you go all the way. Okay. And the writer here, who seems to be an old hand, this guy's getting strip searched back in the video nasty era. So he seems to be an old hand. Is for some reason, some of the logic that he has in here is a little strange. Why did Terrifier films appeal so strongly to this particular demographic? Well, I don't. Have we agreed on that? Is that a proven thing? I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty of female fans. I don't know if they're a majority. But you could argue, okay, why are there any female fans? Particularly since, I mean, I hear different sources in the horror world. There's still people that are like, the Terrifier films, they're so misogynistic, right? Now, I always tell you, right, nobody cares what happens to a man in the movies, okay? Nobody cares what happens to a man in the movies. Plenty of men get killed in here. It even brings that up, right? The guy who Art stabs in his dick like 20 times with the kitchen knife. That's the hipster dude. Good riddance. Okay, but like here, the males are seen as either creepy or useless for the most part. So it's like, okay, they focus on the kills of the women. Right? And he brings up weird things like castration delight. What? Okay, you mean being a psychopathically, criminally insane person that likes castration delight? I don't know. a small part in the female frenzy these films have achieved. And then he brings up something about news of cops abducting and doing horrible things to women on their way home. Why shouldn't ladies take the smallest glimmer of wicked satisfaction as seeing the tool of their tyranny being sliced off at the what? First off, what are you talking about? What stories are these? Second, um, are you trying to justify? Yeah, remember back in the day, some of you older people, you had John Wayne Bobbitt, and I'll never forget that. And this was the early '90s, right? This was the bad times, according to many of these people. And John Wayne Bobbitt, he was sort of a ne'er do well, but I know his girlfriend sliced off his junk, and luckily he was able to retrieve it, or the cops were able to retrieve it, and they sewed it back on. But in this story, there was never this sense of like what a horrific thing that had happened. It was just made a joke. Okay, mostly men and women both thought it was hilarious. Women thought he probably had deserved it. The men thought it was funny, okay, because a man that can't handle his woman, the reaction of most men is to laugh at him, to look down at him. And of course, you don't have to mention what women think, but this goes back to the whole thing. You could argue that the women get the most horrific treatment in this because people care more about what happens to a woman. That's what the final girl is. It's not a feminist thing. Okay, it's just if anything, it shows that the average man, no one gives a damn about you. Your brothers would have given a damn about you. Your comrades in a war band would have given a damn about you. But in a modern, postmodern civilization, you're the lowest person on the totem pole. Okay, unless you achieve power or whatever. Okay. So anyway, that's just my little take on it. Of course, the beautiful Lauren Rivera, her character. Oh my I want to say separate from all this final girl stuff and all this women like seeing, the things that happen here or whatever. This is a great character, okay? She is a great character. She actually is what a female character should be. She's a normal girl who's been through had a horrible thing happen in her life, okay, before the events of Terrifier 2. Okay, and for her brother, she fights and she gets her ass kicked really badly, and she comes back, okay, because she loves her brother. Okay, in the third film, she has been psychologically damaged badly. Okay, and I can't imagine what state she's gonna be in after if you saw the third one. Okay, she gives it back to this son of a bitch. Okay, but she really pays for it. Okay, and that actually is why I think I'm gonna, now you're saying like I'm mitigating things. She actually is a great character, what she's been through. Okay, she's very vulnerable. She's tough, but she is vulnerable because you don't even know still what the hell this thing is here. What he is, his power. This thing, he can never seem to die. Anyway, but a few other things. They go over some women. The women like it. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of women too. You think they're all united? So there's no worse fighting amongst intergender fights. So, and apparently, from what I've heard, amongst the men who prefer other men, apparently it's really bad there too. So, and amongst the women who prefer the women, probably statistically is the worst. Okay, if you get what I'm saying there, but I won't say anymore. I'm already on the baddie side over here. So it's funny. Apparently, all the women he's interviewing. I don't know. It was just interesting that this guy was talking to these women. Two of them from Newcastle. Anyway, so and there she is. Remember that scene? She's cute, man. I tell you, she's cute. I'd like to see her in more things. Also, they bring up briefly here the woman, right? This is the woman. At the end of the first one, what this bastard does to her, but she becomes kind of like, I don't know, like a Harley Quinn type character. And he mentioned, I don't know why he mentions that. She mentions that that she's the dominant one in the I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, she's more terrifying than the Terrifier himself. Well, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, she looks pretty. She looks pretty bad after what Art did. Spoiler: Art ate her face. Okay, uh, and then she did that to the reporter, and then she ended up in the asylum. And then just this guy killed orderly Chris Jericho to get her out, and then yeah, I tell you, man. So and it ends in a weird spot here. I think I'll probably just focus on this article, not make this too long. Is there empowerment for women and seeing themselves represented on screen as monsters? Why not? Um, Throughout the ancient history and throughout the world, throughout all forms of drama, from China to Europe to other places, there are plenty of female villains. Okay, plenty of female villains who do horrific things, sometimes for a reason, sometimes just because they're evil. Okay, this is no big thing here. So I actually like having more female villains in stories as well, and there are plenty because in real life there are plenty of enemies and villains of both genders. So, what it says that you're trying to identify with the female baddie, that's a little strange because never ever would I ever think to identify with this fucking bastard. Holy shit. Oh my god, I still can't believe how nasty the Terrifier 3 was, but I guess the 4 will be coming out next year. So that's all. And the rest of it, Conga, I remember seeing Conga. Conga is awesome. It's just interesting to see British films where they have miniature work. It's interesting to me because they're not really known for that. The Big Bird, I remember that. Look at that. Interesting. A lot of Lucio Fulci stuff in the reviews, which you can never get enough of. Right. Yeah. And what else? Oh, The Beast. What a great film. The Beast Must Die. A great, great movie. Remember the werewolf break? Of course, the werewolf was just a dog with like a rug on it. But I remember that film always on TV. The werewolf break. You had to guess who the werewolf was. And also, never mentioned. It was really Calvin Lockhart, the hunter guy in this. The guy who brings everyone to you, knowing one of them's a werewolf, and he tries to hunt them down. What a great character! Never mentioned amongst the black horror thing. This guy never gets mentioned. And I don't know why. He's a tragic character, very masculine man, great hero. Never once has it ever brought up what he is, because it doesn't matter in this great film. So, and Bruno Mattei. Now, of course, I love the Zombie Creeping Flesh. Of course, it's a British magazine, so it's called Zombie Creeping Flesh. In America, it was Night of the Zombies, right? Or right, US was just Night of the Zombies, or the best name of it, Hell of the Living Dead. Claudio Fragasso, Bruno Mattei. I've already gone over this film. And then Rats. What a crazy Rats. Zombie 3. Shocking Dark. I actually got that VHS of Shocking Dark for Midnight Video, and it's actually really not a bad film at all. The creatures are kind of cool in it. Yeah, it's basically aliens, but yeah, no. But like this period here, my Rats. Hell of the Living Dead. Even Zombie 3 was a lot of fun. Bruno Mattei, man. Gets short thrift. And yeah, I guess that's about it for this issue. The main thing was going over the thing with for Arkham. The thing with the Terrifier. So there's always never forget. Okay, it's class war as much as the other war. Okay. But the one thing that you've never seen to the level it is now in this world is gender war. So, and that is probably that might be the one that that does us in. I'll be honest with you, because what are you gonna do when you're positioned to be a rival, a competitor against the very person that is needed to make life? I'll just leave it at that. I know, heavy. All right.